Hurricane Michael ripped through the Florida Panhandle 6 years ago. Mayor Margo Anderson's book reveals what really happened in Lynn Haven. 600 pages with actual FBI investigation memos and much more. The foreword is written by Guy Lewis, a Fox News contributor who oversaw all federal prosecutors under Attorney General John Ashcroft nearly 20 years ago. He represented James Finch, the longtime contractor hit with bogus charges so absurd that 2 juries rejected them. It didn't take long for the second jury to return a not guilty verdict. Margo's book is a journey of legal treachery that will shock the conscience of every American. Order your copy today of Hurricane Michael, Storm of Corruption at Amazon.com. Or you can pick up a copy in Lynn Haven at Victoria's Last Bite. So Margo Anderson's book is still number 1 on the bestseller list, at least for true crime. Holding strong. It's amazing. Don't you think it's amazing? And it's so funny. So the Beacon of Bay County, which if you're not following on Facebook, I highly, highly recommend you do. I want to get this a little closer. But one of the founders of the Beacon of Bay County, Jerry Gap Parker, she handed Margo Anderson's book, paperback, to the mayor, to all the commissioners, and to the city manager, Vicki Gaynor. Now, Margo Anderson's book, the rightful and former mayor of Lynn Haven, I mean, it is 600 pages, as you just saw. And it is complete with investigation memos from the FBI, from the sheriff's office. And so she hands them all the book with their names in it, a lot of them. And 2 people said, I don't want that book, gave it back. 2 people said, get that out of my hands. Oh, I'm not touching that. Who do you think it was? Nope. Nope, it wasn't the mayor. But yes, it was city manager Vicki Gaynor. I don't want that book. I know what's in that book. I know what I did. She didn't want it. Also, this is amazing. I don't know why this person has been so pissed off all the time. Breaking the, Judy Vandergrift, Commissioner Vandergrift said, I don't want anything to do with it. Do you remember those little microphones that go up when they talk at the city commission? You remember when she got so mad because Commissioner Jamie Warwick said, hey, I think we should hold the police chief accountable. And she got so mad, she took the little microphone and twisted like a chicken, like a rooster neck. Threw herself back all red on the chair. She didn't want that book either. I don't want anything to do with that book about Margo Anderson. What is up with Judy Vandergrift? Why the hatred toward Margo Anderson and James Finch? Do you know? I don't know why. But anyway, they all got a free copy of the book. Awfully generous of you, Jerry Gap Parker. Oh my God, it's too much. But yeah, the book is, if you haven't got a copy yet, Amazon.com is where you can get it. And your eyes will pop. Am I right or wrong? Is it unbelievable? Evidence, investigation notes. Anyway, that happened. But the real thing I wanted to, okay, more about Lynn Haven, I suppose. And I'll go into this more later because I actually want to show you from the court filings and all of it. Wow. So Lynn Haven and other cities continue to award big contracts to Panhandle Engineering owned by Chris Forehand. You say, Bernie, what's wrong with that? Right? He's eminently qualified and he's been doing this kind of work for a long time. And he was the city's contracted city engineer. Yeah. But also he was given immunity by the federal government, meaning he would not be prosecuted for committing a federal crime against the city of Lynn Haven. Now, we don't know what the crime is because the federal government said, hey, for some reason, get a load of this. Look, in order to get immunity, first of all, normally you are either a cooperator, or you've committed a crime and you're facing an indictment. And if you cooperate, they'll decide to give you immunity. And there are different levels of immunity. But Chris Forehand has so much pull with the federal government that he was able to get immunity and plead the fifth. I'm not going to take the stand. Can you imagine telling the federal, I'm not taking the stand. I plead the fifth and I got immunity. How does that work? Do you ever get the feeling something's going on and we're not in on it? Even though, and I was in the courtroom. When the federal prosecutors told Judge Mark Walker, yes, Chris Forehand got immunity, and we've got the documents too, so it's not a secret, and received leniency. Can you imagine being so connected you can commit crimes? Federal crimes? And say, I'm not talking, and still get immunity and still get contracts. So the gravy train for Panhandle Engineering rolls on. But one more thing to know is, so now that the presidential election has come and gone, and it appears, if things go the way they're supposed to go, that there'll be a different president, a familiar guy, but a different president in January. And whenever that happens, the new president will appoint his own, he'll replace the Justice Department with his own appointments. And that not only includes the U.S. Attorney General, but it also includes all of the U.S. attorneys. So you've got Big Justice, the Justice Department, and then Big Justice oversees little justices all over the United States, all over these United States. And if you get popped for a federal crime in, I don't know, let's say Lynn Haven, it is the northern Jason Cootie. And so Jason Cootie will not be the U.S. attorney in charge of prosecuting cases after February, if things go the way things are supposed to go. And, if there's a peaceful transfer of power. So that's going to be kind of interesting. I don't know if it means anything, but what I'm trying to say is that the Justice Department that wanted to put Margo Anderson in prison for 1,000 years, the same Justice Department that wanted to put Trump in prison for 640 years, small fries compared to what Margo Anderson did, according to Sheriff Ford and the FBI and this Justice Department. But yeah, they will be replaced. They'll be all new people. And I just think that could be interesting. All right. Now, do you remember in 2022 when I was going off on $8.7 million that the Bay County Commission under Chairman Griff Griffiths, who is now State Representative Griff Griffiths, do you remember all this? $8.7 million that went missing, and it was discovered in a lawsuit where private building officials, they had to sue the county because the county is refusing. They're violating state statute. There is the state law ever since 2002, And it keeps getting updated and stronger. As a matter of fact, in January, it'll be even stronger that, and I'll read all this to you, that you are allowed this, the county cannot stop you from getting a private building inspector. But the county says no. See, it's less expensive. It's faster. It's better. Some of these guys were the best building officials in the county until they started their own businesses after they were getting screwed by local government. And they sued. They had a lawsuit a couple years ago. And in this lawsuit, they had a very expensive forensic audit. Do you remember I was talking about all this? And this forensic audit showed that $8.7 million went missing out of the Builder Services Fund. Gone. And then everybody panicked. You had Bob Micah, the county manager, going on doing interviews. He looked more nervous than Mark Furman at the Million Man March. Let's just say it was quite something. And then you had all of this stuff going on. And I reached out to Griff Griffiths because he was the chairman when the $8.7 million went missing. See, this money is raised by builder fees, builder services fees. So when you have permits, when you have to get a permit, you got to go pay the local government. And the only thing by statute that has to go into the Builder Services Fund. It's not a tax. The county can't just take that money and, spend it on law enforcement or, whatever they want to spend it on. It is not a tax. It is a fee. And it can only be spent in the Builder Services Fund. Well, after Hurricane Michael, Chairman Griff Griffiths at the time, he said in the newspaper, I'll just put an IOU in there. So I did this interview. I went and spoke to state representative, he was a candidate at the time running for state representative. I remember the day, and I'll tell you why. It was August 18, 2022. And I went with Jody Moore, the other founder of the Beacon of Bay County. The two of us went, and we met with County Clerk Bill Kinsall at the government building and former chairman of the County Commission, Griff Griffiths, and a few staff members, big financial staff members. And it's recorded. I've never played it for you, but you're going to hear it. Not tonight, but you're going to hear it. Oh my God. And when we were talking to them and asking about this $8.7 million that is missing, I learned from the staff that government accounting is a little bit different than what you might think. See, you're going to hear it straight from the horse's mouth at some point because it's recorded. They knew that the interview was being recorded, and you'll hear it. And they said, look, the $8.7 million or a certain amount of this money was over in this fund as well. And I said, "You mean as well? Was it in that fund or this fund?" I kept saying account. No, it's not accounts, Bernie. If you knew anything about this, you would know they're different funds. See? And I said, okay, but you're saying that this money is in this fund, but it began in this fund. That's right. So which fund is it in? It's in both. I said, how could it physically be in two different funds? And I'll never forget, and you'll hear it. That's how government accounting works. All right. What the hell ever became of that? I don't know. But it is $8.7 million missing. The current Justice Department and FBI and Sheriff's Office and State Attorney's Office and FDA, nobody gives a flip except for a few private building officials who have more lawsuits against the county. Right now, today, there are more lawsuits against the county And the county is saying, the county is saying, up your nose, state. Just like that. They're saying, we're not going to follow that state statute because we don't have to. What do you mean you don't have to? I mean, it reminds me, this is exactly what Hector Solis said, the former city council member in Panama City Beach. And this is the first time I realized this. It was 2017. And they were passing a resolution to prevent me from making public comments. It was unbelievable. They didn't like my public comments. And they were arguing among themselves up on the city council. And they wanted to pass a resolution that said that people making public comments could not make impertinent comments. And the city attorney, Amy Whiteout Myers, I say Whiteout Myers because she gave the FBI an altered copy of a plat. Never denied it. I asked up there many times. They never denied it. They did it. The FBI loves being lied to by Amy Whiteout Myers, the city attorney, and, by the way, Vicky Gaynor and others as well. They love being lied to by some people. Anyway, Amy Myers, the city attorney, said, look, Councilman Solis, we can't put in the word impertinent because it's too vague. People can make their opinions when they make public comments. And Hector Solis said this. This was incredible. He said, we can do whatever we want to do. We can put anything we want in there because unless we get sued, he said unless we get challenged, we can do whatever we want. And he's right. Because law enforcement, federal and state, are too corrupt to hold them accountable. They can break the law with impunity. And unless you sue them, they don't give a flip. And that's what the county is doing right now. The county is saying, we will not follow state statute that allows residents of Bay County to get less expensive, faster, and better building inspections. Because it's a racket. They are organized crime. They want you to pay more and they want you to pay them. And then they'll take the money and they won't even leave it in the Builder Services Fund. They will say it's in two different funds. And the money vanishes. And the FBI, they don't know what happened. Yeah, they do. I know they do. But nobody gives a flip. Nobody knows where the money is. And the county's like, that's a pretty damn good deal. Let's keep doing it because nobody's got millions and millions of dollars to bring legal action against us. We can just keep doing it. But see, there are a few people who are. I'm going to tell you in just a moment. There's a lawsuit right now. You can even look it up. I found it. Florida, here. Are you ready? Florida Building Code compliance. Florida Building Code compliance something authority. Florida Building Code Compliance Authority, Inc. And 6 or 7 building contractors versus Bay County. Look it up on the Florida Clerk of Court. You will not believe it. It's right now going on. I think it's Judge Goodwin if I wrote it. Yeah, Judge Goodwin. Florida Building Code Compliance Authority, Inc. and other building contractors versus Bay County. Look, that's a current lawsuit. I'll tell you what it's about. I'll tell you what it's about right after this.
Strong, effective leadership. 3 words that could mean the difference between prison and your freedom. I'm Al Stallene, your Panama City Beach lawyer. 850-215-0628.
Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down.
Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777.
All right, so there's an article, that a brand new article. You ready for this? This is incredible. So this is an opinion article, and no, it's not in the News Herald. The News Herald doesn't serve you. Okay. Instead, you will find it in BayCountyCoastal.com. Okay, BayCountyCoastal.com, and it is really full of local news. It's awesome. BayCountyCoastal.com, and here's an opinion. Look at this. This is Al Wilson, and he's one of the people trying to get the county to follow the law. Very expensive, very tough lawsuits. But I've heard about Al Wilson since 2016. Al Wilson sued Lynn Haven. He was the building official for Lynn Haven, and he was wrongly fired. And I was asking about him because I didn't know him. And everybody was saying he's the most decorated. He has the most, what am I trying to say? Licenses. Like he's like the local guy everybody looks up to. He knows everything about building official stuff. But he got into it with Lynn Haven and they wrongly fired him. He hired Murray Maddox and he won a lawsuit against him. He later went to Bay County, worked with them. And then in 2017 or so, he said, to hell with it. Since the laws allow, I'll just start my own business. And everybody wants Al Wilson. The Florida Building Code Compliance Authority, Inc. That's the name of his company. But the county is screwing him over and many others, but the people getting hurt worst are the actual homeowners and the actual people who need permits and all that kind of stuff. This is crazy as hell, actually. So he wrote an article that came out November 12th. Like a brand new article. And I'm going to skip to the good parts here, okay? He talks about the mindless, wasteful, redundant work being done by the Bay County Building and Safety Department. Nobody knows better than Al Wilson. Yeah, there it is. It says he's the director of the Florida Building Code Compliance Authority, Inc. That's his company. Bay County officials are blocking owners of new homes from turning on their electricity, sometimes for weeks, until the county repeats inspections that have already been conducted by licensed inspectors with the same or more credentials and experience. Nobody's better at this than Al Wilson and a few others with private businesses that do it faster and less expensive. So the county's saying, no, we're going to go behind you and do it too. Unreal. To assist overworked local building departments and help remove politics from the construction industry, the Florida legislature passed a law requiring local governments to allow builders and homeowners to utilize private providers in lieu of the government agency for plans, reviews, and building inspections. If you want to look the law up yourself, I wrote that down as well. And it is Florida Statute 553.791. First implemented in 2002. I'll show it to you. So, but not Bay County. Bay County thinks that it can supersede state statute. They are brazenly breaking the law. This is not just tortious interference. This is not just simply a civil issue. They're criminals. It insists on the wasteful, redundant, inefficient practice of re-inspecting the work for no apparent reason. When analyzing Bay County's policy, one good place to start is what other Panhandle counties or cities are attempting to do what Bay County is doing? I know of only one, he says, Holmes County. And guess what? Holmes County's building official recently moved there from Bay County. So why would the counties do this? Because to them, it's about getting more fees that they can take and use illegally as taxes. That's why. Because they're voracious and it's never enough. Their pockets are never stuffed full enough. And when they are, they move it to a different account. I'm sorry, fund, right? Move it to a different fund. It's in this fund and it's in that fund. Which one? It's in both. How? Government accounting. Wow. So which leads us to so many questions that it will leave your electric meter spinning. How much money is this costing Bay County taxpayers? Is that figure including the lawsuit the county is currently defending? What about the prior lawsuit over excessive private provider permit fees that the county ultimately settled by agreeing to reduce the fees as required by state law? Okay, we'll follow the law, I guess. And so they settled by agreeing to follow the law. That was the lawsuit where I learned that a forensic audit showed that $8.7 million went missing from the Bay County Builder Services Fund. That money could have been stolen. That money could have been moved. That money could have been given to another agency. Nobody who knows will say, hey, FBI, I got a tip for you. But you already know, don't you? You already know. Hey, Sheriff, I have a tip for you. You already know. Why won't they say anything? Why won't they do anything? It's crazy, isn't it? How is this helping the affordable housing crisis? You know, you hear Panama City now is talking a lot about this, the Panama City Commission, and the new commissioner, Brian Granger. We've got a serious problem here, and we don't have enough affordable housing, he said. And it's true, but whenever I hear government talk about affordable housing, you know it's about to get more expensive. And this is one reason why. Now, a city commissioner doesn't have authority over a county commissioner, but still, a city commissioner has a bigger voice, and a city commissioner should be concerned about this because it affects everybody. All right, so how has it impacted the real people, first-time home builders, home buyers, who are trying to realize the American dream of turning the key and walking into a gleaming new house? Well, that question is perhaps the most important, says Al Wilson. I have knowledge of a family brimming with excitement over moving into their new home. Imagine you buy a new home in Bay County. You'll pull up to the front door. You got a moving truck, got all your stuff in it. Everybody's excited, and you can't move in. Despite the private provider having passed the required electrical inspection, the county had not yet approved to turn the power on. The homeowner did everything the homeowner was required to do by law, but the county said, you're not moving in until we get around to it. Even though it's already done, we want to do it too, because we're going to do redundant, and we're going to take more money from everybody and use it as a tax instead of a fee. Wow. And they couldn't move in the next day either, by the way, or the next, or next week, Eventually, the entire deal for the house fell through. They didn't get the home. They didn't get their home because the so-and-sos at the county had not allowed the power to be turned on. Think about this the next time you hear these county commissioners who have their hands so deep in the cookie jar that their elbows have crumbs in them. Wow. This makes me so angry. Red tape choked their American dream of home ownership. That's not smaller government. That's not even good government. This is bureaucratic arrogance and self-preservation. Bay County is protecting the cash cow that the building department has become by elevating the importance of government inspectors. He says over the free market. I would say just over you. And if that's not enough, too often this is incompetent government. You see, when Bay County does conduct redundant inspections, they are certainly not immune from error and can leave potential contractors or homeowners in dangerous situations. One of the most egregious examples comes from October of 2023, when Bay County inspectors affixed a green approved sticker authorizing electricity to be turned on when, as you can see from the picture below, high voltage bus bars were not covered by a panel. The county approved this a year ago. If the electricity were to be connected here in that picture right there, any contact with this exposed surface could have killed somebody. These errors are unacceptable, and the responsibility resides solely with the county administration and staff. At its next meeting, the Bay County commissioners should be asking questions such as, why are we the only county? Why are we one of the only counties in the Panhandle to do it this way? How much has this cost us? Why are we making it? Also, he says, begs the question, but it should be raises the question, because begs the question is a logical fallacy that really is not what it sounds like. It's a circular argument, but it raises the question. If Bay County is this wasteful in this area, where else is the bureaucracy running wild and costing taxpayers more money? Isn't this amazing? This is, by the way, again, there it is. Gosh, I wish I'd had this. Bay County Coastal. That's the newspaper. You can get a printed paper. And it's baycountycoastal.com. Baycountycoastal.com is where. Wow, man. And look at this. As far back as 2022, let me just show you this. I'm sorry, as far back as 2006, there was an attorney general, Florida attorney general opinion. So the law that allows people to get a private building official inspector, so so you can get your permits and move in and get everything done rather than going to the government. That law was passed as far back as 2002, but questions kept going on because governments didn't like it. And 4 years later, in 2006, the Attorney General opinion, and I'm just showing this to you, it says, yeah, absolutely, the law says what it says, and people are allowed to do that. And again, if you want to look up the statute for yourself, it is Florida Statute 553.791, and it keeps getting stronger and stronger. Just in 2024, starting in the legislature passed and the governor signed updates to this statute, and starting in January, it's going to be even stronger. But yet, Bay County continues to say, we're not following the law. I'll tell you this, the reason I know what day I went with Jody Moore, Beacon of Bay County, to talk to the Bay County Clerk of Court, Bill Kinsall, and the former County Commissioner, Griff Griffiths, about the missing $8.7 million that is recorded and that you will hear. How do I know it was it was on August 18th, 2022. How do you think I know that? Because the very next day that I asked them about a missing $8.7 million, and they told me, no, it's in this fund and it's in this fund at the same time. The very next day, Sheriff Tommy Ford surrounded my home. That's how I know.
You want to look good? You want to feel good? Little John's Big and Tall is where it's at. Right across the street from Sky's Pizza Pie, 5700 North Davis Highway. You can find out more online at littlejohnsbigandtall.com. He's also a member of the iTex trading community, where your iTex dollars are welcome.
All right, I want to thank those of you who throw a tip in the tip jar by donating or at patreon.com, patreon.com/Bernie Thompson. Thank you. Crowdfunding keeps us up and going, barely, but to those of you who do, I'm very grateful. It's anonymous, it's easy, and you can quit at any time, as little as $5 a month. Patreon.com/Bernie Thompson. And of course, thanks to the Unknown Patriot for your support. And I think I'm gonna wrap it up, and I'm gonna get that entire conversation about the $8.7 million available for you to hear. Several people have it, but I haven't published it quite yet. But I think it's about that time.